I travel a lot for my work, and in my downtimes, using a GoPro drone and my phone, I like to capture the highlights of where I go. And this video is from a trip to South Australia, with a stopover in Mildura, and it all usually starts at Sydney Airport. Due to our regional centres in Australia being quite small compared to other countries, passenger volumes are relatively low, so the regional flights are in smaller aircraft, which means you go to a special area of the airport, and for Sydney, this means getting in a bus and travelling to a different apron. One of the benefits of these smaller aircraft is that they fly at a lower altitude, so you get to see a lot more. And here you can see Lake Burragarang, the main water supply for Sydney. Now our water supplies here in New South Wales are within protected areas, which means you can't go out on the water or even get close to them. Mildura sits on the Murray River, Australia's longest river, which also creates the border between the states of New South Wales and Victoria. And the region is known for oranges and grapes, and that's what you can see below. Oh, and the mafia, but I'll let you Google that. After my work commitments, I checked into the McCure Hotel, and the original building was opened in 1887. The lift is heritage listed. Let's just say it's a little difficult to use when you're chunky like me and have a big suitcase. Now I'm getting old. I'm doing that waking up early thing. But you know what they say, when given lemons, make lemonade, which usually means I get the drone out and get that different perspective of where I am, and take advantage of recording the sunrise. Anyway, I'll shut up now and let you enjoy this for a moment. Now, luck would have it, down on the river there was a really cool place to have some breakfast before my long drive towards Adelaide. Visitors, especially from Europe, always get surprised about the width of the main streets in country towns. When you come from places that began life in the Middle Ages, seeing such wide streets can be a little daunting. But it does really add to that feel of Australia having big, wide open spaces. As you can see, it's pretty flat out here, and it wasn't until I got closer to the South Australian border that things started to get a bit more exciting. This area is part of the fruit fly exclusion zone, where fruit and vegetables cannot be taken into the area. Now this is to stop the spread of the Queensland fruit fly from invading crops and plantations that would be devastating to the economy. There are disposal bins along the highways entering the zone, and as you can see here, a group of grey nomads emptying their caravan of fruit and vegetable matter. And a bit further down the road, at the South Australian border, there is a quarantine checkpoint where they do search your vehicle for any fruit and vegetables. Now this does seem a little strange to be stopped in your own country at a checkpoint, but it is for very good reason.
Hello, how are you going? Good. Good. I'm a quarantine inspector authorised under the Plant Health Act. I'm just looking for fruit and vegetables. Do you have any?
No,
No.
go for it.
Very good. We just need the glove box and centre console, please, sir.
After this day's work commitments, I made my way into Adelaide, my base for the next 8 days. And for a bit of perspective on how far I've travelled on this trip so far, here is the equivalent in Europe and North America. Named in honour of Queen Adelaide, the city was founded in 1836 as the planned capital for the only freely settled British province in Australia. Early colonial Adelaide was shaped by the diversity and wealth of its free settlers, in contrast to the convict history of other Australian cities. It was Australia's third most populated city until the post-war era, and has been noted for its leading example of religious freedom and progressive political reforms, and became known as the City of Churches due to its diversity of faiths. Today Adelaide is known by its many festivals and sporting events, its food and wine, its coastline and its hills. This is the first time since the pandemic that I've spent this much time in a city. So I took some time to walk around the city at the end of the workday and found it an interesting mix of the old and new. And at the end of the day, checking into the hotel, this reminded me I'd forgotten about how tight inner city car parks can be. Friday saw me at the airport for another very early regional flight to Whyalla, which only takes about 45 minutes, but spared me a 4.5 hour drive up and around to Spencer Golf.
Morning again, how are you?
Good one.
We got there in the end, and you got the emergency exit row 1, you cool with that?
I'm good. Thanks, mate.
Whyalla is famous for its steelworks, situated here due to the relatively close iron ore deposits at Iron Knob. And no, that's not a spelling mistake. Even though I've been in this area a few times now, I'm still ambivalent about how I feel about it. The dry, semi-arid climate really highlights that brutal beauty that Australia is renowned for, which is stunning in its own right, but if I'm honest, I do prefer the areas of the country that are more green with gentle rolling hills. And the day didn't end well, with my return flight being 4 hours late, so I spent a lot of time in a very, very small departure lounge, staring at the empty runway. It should be illegal to have flights late on a Friday afternoon, just let me say. And Adelaide Airport, just like Sydney, has a 10 p.m. curfew. So we got in just in time, and it was a little freaky walking through the airport with hardly anyone around. On the weekend, I got to explore the Fleurieu Peninsula. And talking of green rolling hills, this part of South Australia is such a contrast to the north. In some places, I felt I was back in the UK, especially in some of the buildings which were built by the Cornish, who came to this part of the country to seek their fortune in mining. And I also got to catch up with an old school friend and his wife from when we were kids in the UK. Now, I'd thoroughly recommend, if you get the chance to come to South Australia, spending some time on the Fleurieu Peninsula, as there are so many interesting places. And it was on the way back from one of my work commitments in the Adelaide Hills, I discovered that the very first Penfolds, an iconic Australian wine company, first vineyard still exists in what is now the suburbs of Adelaide. And I'm going to look forward to coming back here with Vicky one day. Okay, well, I think it's time to wrap this video up. I'm going to leave you now with some images and footage of some other places in the Adelaide Hills. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. That will help more people see the video. And if you have any comments, please leave them down below. And thanks for watching.